Good morning, Corsica fans. I'm Kevin Ripa, and this is my Sans 3 Minutes Max. We're going to continue our story from the last episode where we found evidence on the evidence files that had been excluded from the production. And at this point, I still couldn't explain what had happened. I knew it existed on the original evidence file, but my client was saying it wasn't on the police production. So I now go and get a complete copy of the police production that my client had been provided with, and I compare the two. And certainly, without question, these files that were, at least in my client's estimation, at the crux of the matter, didn't exist on what they'd been provided by law enforcement. I wrote up a report. This report went back to law enforcement. They maintained yet again, we've given you everything. We're not withholding anything. It was this push back and forth with them maintaining their position until just before it went to court and they realized that we weren't backing down and that we were sure in our assertion. Then a supplemental report was provided to say, oh, you know what? Indeed, we think we figured out what happened. When the officer created the UFED reader, the Celebrite reader report, by default, Celebrite doesn't check the uncategorized box. And we feel that these files you were after fell under the uncategorized, and so they didn't make it over to the production. An honest mistake. You know what my response is? BS. That is not an honest mistake. An honest mistake was when I was on site the first time, or even before that, when I said, we want the evidence files. We think that we don't have everything. That should have been a hint enough for law enforcement to go back and say, maybe I better look at what we did. If he's asking, there could be something to this. And then if they find out, oh, you know what? We didn't check that box. That's a mistake. That's an honest mistake. But after the client has forked out almost $100,000 in their defense to find this out, for them to now fall back and say, oh, it was an honest mistake. No, you have the power to put someone in jail or not. It behooves you to get it right. If somebody's questioning this, maybe you better go check. I know I always do. But in the end, it's, kind of the same old story. It was an honest mistake. Yeah, with somebody's life. Do better. Check. Double check. When I turn something over and I'm supposed to give everything, I make sure all the boxes are checked. Uncategorized is the only box that isn't checked. How hard is it to put a check mark in there? Don't hide behind honest mistake. There's too much at stake. But in the meantime and in between time, that's it. Another episode of 3 Minutes Max.